Game number 1, BTG against KG. So Beyond the Game should be familiar to everybody that has been watching the Chinese Heroes of the Storm scene or just watched tournaments like BlizzCon, maybe even simply mid-season brawl. So right now we're having the two of them clash against each other in the winner bracket final of Group B. Now we had Boluo go up against SPT, and with Boluo taking the series, they actually advanced to the round of 8, which will be an offline event. The two teams that we're currently seeing here are fighting for the exact same thing. The loser out of this match is actually going to drop down into the lower bracket of the group that is being played out here, and still has a chance to then qualify. But with that said, this is the winner bracket match. So BTG goes into this as the favorite, since they of course have quite a lot of players that have experience on HGC level in the past, whereas KG has fought through the bracket to end up in this situation. But we've already seen a couple of surprises coming through, so I'm curious to see what's happening here now. Towers of Doom is our first map as we're heading into this. BTG into the immediate Ana ban. We're also having Genji already taken out here. China still loving to ban out Genji, for sure. The Zeratul gets banned too. That leaves Maiev open. And the question if we're going to see Maiev here, or if she is maybe going to get banned out on this. Yes, there she is. Okay. A lot of the melee assassins getting dropped here. An instant Uberak, and immediately the bug comes in and gets picked here. Now, again, if you're looking at this and you're not quite familiar with the entire lineup, I have to admit that the entire concept is a little bit complicated to explain, but we're starting with the tournament bracket with 160 teams. As we're moving into the round of 32, these teams get split into 4 groups, and then the groups get played out until the top 2 out of each of these 4 groups make it to the offline event. It's kind of summary of what's happening there. And we are looking at a Sylvanas and also the Haka. Sylvanas is really interesting in China right now. I mean, she's been picked by Boluo in every single game that they played against SBT, and we're seeing her a lot. Now, we're having Sylvanas also picked in Europe, but not even close to the extent that we're seeing her in the Chinese meta at this point. So, super interesting to see her have just such a massive impact right now. And I could totally see some of that also switch over, translate into the European region eventually there. Jimmy and Tyrande still great picks here on the side of KG. Still a little bit surprised that with the Nubra commitment and Tyrande taken, we're not seeing a burst damage dealer like Jaina or Li Ming taken in the earlier rotation. Leaving Jaina up would also allow BTG to pick Jaina to burst down the cocoon a little bit quicker. So I like Jimmy as a pick. Just a little bit weird to see it in this particular fashion. And Phoenix gets banned out, even though he normally is not picked with Jimmy, because you are trying to mix the burst damage that comes from a cooldown heavy hero like a mage together with the more sustainable auto attacks. So definitely a couple of iffy points there on the drafts for the two teams here. But then again, we're looking at a different meta in China. Garrosh gets banned out, limiting the pool on the frontliners even more. Before we are heading into the game, I also want to highlight once again that we are actually not physically in the lobby. So normally in all of the matches that you're seeing on YouTube, that you're seeing on this channel, when we're looking at Europe, when we're looking at Division S, at Meta Madness, at the Nut Cup, you name it, I'm in the lobby myself and I'm doing all of the observing on my own. Whereas here I'm relying on a clean feed that is controlled by the Chinese, so that also means that they are going to use a different UI from what I normally use for my own games that I commentate. So we're going to be back to the Blizzard HTC UI, which unfortunately has a lot of downsides and doesn't really deal well with stack talents in particular. You can't look up the quest stacks without obstructing a huge part of the screen, and the observer usually doesn't really do that a whole lot. So just that you guys are wondering about this. There's also another thing, to my knowledge, the clean feed is running on lower FPS than my own personal stream, so you might notice that with the frames a little bit. But then again, we at least get a clean feed and we are able to watch the Swedes play in China with Boluo, and also of course the Chinese teams too, so there's definitely a huge upside to it as well. Falstad and Malthael get both picked, which makes this a really interesting setup. I mean, I've just been talking about how you try and get a burst damage dealer in, especially with the Anupurak and Tyrande engaged, but they are prioritizing the global a little bit more after the Haka was picked, so they want to have something that can at least mirror that later on. Dibbles together with now Malfurion and Li Ming. I would give the draft of BTG for sure an advantage here, but we have the Cocoon and Gust play for KG if they want to try and play that off. Game number 1, Towers of Doom, ladies and gentlemen. Game number 1, BTG against KG here at the Gold League tournament. And over on the left side, we have BTG starting things off here, KG starting on the right. Curious to see what Falstad is going to spec into, especially since this is the Chinese meta. There are definitely adjustments that we could see, and we have seen some wild builds recently. So let's have a look at what he is going to go for. I'm still a little bit baffled that we don't have any burst damage with that heavy engage with the Nubarak, the stuns that he pushes out, plus the additional stun from Tyrande, and of course the Hunter's Mark. Falstad actually went into Wingman, so we could see the full lightning focus from him. I've seen that a couple of times and definitely can work out. Wingwood is an interesting talent here. I mean, it's not really a bad choice necessarily, but oftentimes I feel with only 3 camps on the map, it might not give you the value that you're looking for. I love the aggression though. KG is not hesitating for a moment. They're not intimidated by BTG at all. They're immediately going in, trying to go for a quick dive and try to take them down. So, with that said, we're having on the side of Sylvanas, again, the Unfurling Shadow, so heavily speccing into the stacking process. That could late game give them a lot of damage there. Dibbles has to be a bit careful there too. Ooh, makes the engage, gets immediately stunned out by a Nubarak. But KG is a little bit low on HP than general. This is the one thing that I'm slightly afraid of, that Li Ming later on is going to get mad value after maybe good engages from Sylvanas and a bit of Unfurling Shadow damage with the dagger, that we could see Li Ming coming in and just absolutely clean house here. So that is definitely a bit of a concern right now. The bird, for example, gets locked down, is going to be in trouble, and the same can be true also for Jimmy and Tyrande to an extent. So we'll keep our eyes on that. Teams are both heading now for the objective, and we actually have a little bit of a one-on-one battle up here at the top with Malthael going up against Dehaka. That stun down here actually prevented BTG from moving in and starting to take a couple of hits here. A bit of a slow start into this. I don't mind it too much. I mean, we're having still Jimmy with Ace in the hole as the level 1 talent. Super important. Veteran marksman, big noob trap. Unless you're playing an A-ramp. If you're playing all random, all mid, then it's a bit of a different story. Then you might actually get a lot of value out of it. But outside of that, you will never really reach a lot of value with Jimmy unless your opponent's team is really bad. Okay, with that said now though, we have already the first few pumpkins escorted through the bot lane. Possession is level 4 on Sylvanas. Level 4 talents coming in from both sides now. Lightning build gets continued by Falstad. Turnaround attempt here in the fight against Sylvanas. Reina is moving away here, and the rest of the team is still fighting it out. But a lot of damage pushed onto Nubarak at the front line, and we're already seeing Diablo look for another opportunity to slam the buck into a wall. Not seeing anything just there. Oh, well, triple altar phase is currently already popping up, and with that we're normally having, of course, a 2-1 trade. Very rarely do you see a team that is able to get 3 altars in the first rotation. Behemoth armor comes out from Jimmy. Now, considering that most of the damage is going to come from Li Ming, Fight or Flight would have been better, I think. But I mean, if he gets a massive stacks, then he might just live through the initial burst. That might be the thought process here. Top left, top right, as expected, the trade. Li Ming actually sticking out in the middle lane for a lot longer, apparently tapping the fountain here before she starts moving down to the bottom of the map. The bird already trying to go for the channel, gets interrupted by Dibbles. Diablo still looking for the stun, doesn't find it here, but Dehaka came in and ooh, loser on Dehaka is actually having a bit of trouble here. That could have been a kill against him. And once again, starting to play especially against Diablo. Diablo finds the connect, and there's the root, and that is the kill. Well done. Great engage here from LLK on Diablo as he opens up an opportunity for the team to take down a Nubarak, and of course without the main tank. Now KG is in trouble and has to move back out of this position. Does it immediately, and that is another 4 shots fired, which puts the core of KG down to 32 points. They also start to apply even more pressure down at the bottom of the map and able to take down an additional turret here. That's kind of what they've been doing for a while now. So if they can just shove in wave after wave and maybe get another pumpkin set, they might be able to eventually wiggle the tower down and take it. Level 7 is going to help them there too. That brings us finally into the hands of Calamity for Liming, and it's just one of the best talents for sure. Lockdown against the Nubarak, stun on the other hand from Tyrande. But you can see how a Nubarak is starting to have trouble. I mean, the entire time there's just like damage after damage after damage coming in against him whenever he just pokes his head up. He needs to be super careful with this. The pressure against that is still there. False stat flies over to bribe the camp, and he's getting it. But he just used his barrel roll. Oh, they could have gotten him. If they would have... I mean, that was a risky play. He barrel rolled over the wall to get the bribe, and he got it. But, yeah, he was just hiding in the bush there. If they would have moved a little bit farther up, they could have really taken him out there. So that was definitely a bit of a greedy play. But it worked out. I mean, he got lucky there. This is, by the way, also what I'm talking about. Especially when the camera moves a lot, you can tell that the frames are definitely a bit different from the usual setup here. But then again, this is China, so it's actually... Let's call this rare footage that we're seeing here, and that definitely makes it worth it. But yeah, just so you guys have a bit of an explanation why the Gold League videos are a little bit less quality than what you're normally used to on the channel here. So the lead in experience goes to BTG. Single altar on the map, unlikely to get level 10 around that fight, even though it could be a prolonged one. But now the Haka is making the move down to the bottom again. Looks for the drag. They're trying to make the play for Jimmy. They don't get him, but they're having the drag down here. They can make the play for Nubarak instead, and they're trying to do exactly that. Look at Lucky on the other hand. Yeah, he's on half HP already, and the bug is down as Li Ming gets the fly spotter and takes him apart. So that's also nearly level 10 for them. For a moment, I was actually thinking about if it would be possible for them to just wait for level 10 and just go through the bot lane and drop that bell tower, but it's just too early, and Nubarak will be back soon, so they're taking the 4 hits for now, claiming another altar and burning down the core of their opponent at 28 points. But they definitely have the tools now with level 10 to dive this bell tower hard and just take that easily. Especially, of course, with Sylvanas in addition to that too. So yeah, they're starting to go in for it. And if a noob is willing to fight here, I'm actually a bit surprised they're not committing to this. It's a 3 versus 4 even, and you're massively ahead, and yep, there we go. And I have no idea why KG is taking that fight. Down goes, well, that's a double kill right there. We're having first of all Reyna fall, and then Tyrande dies too. It was a really bad idea. Engaging into... Bell tower or no bell tower, they just engaged into a 3 versus 4 without heroic abilities. That doesn't end well. Something that even, I don't know, even a Wood League player is usually able to tell you that. So I'm not 100% certain what the thought process was. I think they were really hoping that the bell tower itself would just be enough to give them the upper hand in the fight. But given the setup, I don't think that was a smart choice. Either way, the bell tower is lost. And now we're having level 10 abilities at least ready for KG. Losing those 2 heroes was a concern. Okay, Cocoon is already in there trying to make the play. Uh-oh, a Nubarak. A little bit far out. There's the Gust into the corner. Is that going to make the play? 5 versus 5 right now. Nice step value from the Hyperion, and Sylvanas actually falls. The last rights, though, doesn't give them a kill. Malthael has to immediately pay for the audacity of taking the kill against Sylvanas here, and they're starting to go for another one. They're attempting to make the play for Nubarak. Pushing him out, body block attempt. But the stuns are in and the fight isn't over yet. No, they're going for Malth, and Malth gets shredded. Nice. Malth down. And that is actually leading them into a position where they might be able to at least get some of those altars. Already one channel at the bottom. That's 5 shots fired. A 5 versus 3 setup would be great for them. The Owl comes in, delays it a little bit more, and Nubarak is probably going to try and delay it even longer. And they might even get 2. I mean, that's 3 shots fired. Not really a lot, but better 3 than nothing. And they're trying to get even more out of this. Just moving past that bell tower, beetle spawns, and yeah, that's still going to be 5 shots. 5 shots are coming through. That's 23 against 33 points on the core. So a 10-point difference, but they're at least trying to reclaim the bell tower, and thanks to the 4-man setup here, they're able to actually pull that off. So it's a bit of a weird fight that we had, but still, we are seeing the bell tower reclaimed, but a massive lead for BTG still. And on top of that, of course, the level 13 talent that they are going to get really, really soon here too. It's not really the most massive lead in experience, but they've been playing quite well around the small talent advantages that they already had earlier. So, Meng for the laser show. Still super low cooldown. Only 30 seconds, so he burns the wave down, allows them to rotate a bit quicker. Now at the top lane, and Lucky is still going his thing on the bird. And that might be another kill. Yes, the lightning breath and the laser show with a calamity value as they're taking another triple kill. 8 kills against 2 now. That bot lane is, yeah, it's a little bit kryptonite of KG. They're not doing well here at the bottom of the map. They really have problems there. Up at the top, I mean, Dehaka has the annoying setup where he needs to go up against Falstad a lot more than he probably expected. Even though Malphite is rotating. But the game is definitely going one direction at this point. Of course we're seeing BTG or KG fighting back, but BTG is just a bit too strong at this point. And now they have to also defend the bot lane, KG that is, because there is another mercenary camp coming through. 15 seconds until the next altars are up and available. And top lane pushes out even more minions. And they make the play for the double altar. Is there now? Falstad flies. Ooh, the gust to interrupt Li Ming. That worked. Burned a big cooldown though. Okay, there's 5 shots fired as we're seeing the left channel, and now they're making the play over to the right. Cocoon gets burned down by Li Ming. That was good, so that's more cooldowns already activated on the heroics. And here comes Dehaka with a drag against Malf. Nearly gets the kill there, but all of a sudden he himself is in trouble and is dropped. Dehaka down, Dibbles with a lightning breath, and they're getting the counter kill against Malthael. Malthael eliminated, and everybody else is starting to be really low. What a stun again by LLK. Is Diablo performance here. Again, great. Good stun also by Nubura, keeping himself alive. As Sylvanas was trying to get the final few hits in, but the altar goes over to BTG, and that's another 5 points of the core, which puts them down to 13 now. 16 is in their hands as well. 16 versus 14, 2-level lead, the bell tower advantage, and yep, that is of course, well, BTG is now trying to get in the mid lane too. Getting a bit of damage onto the bell tower here. Meng being around, oh, the penetrating round actually hurting a lot at this point. But yeah, it's starting to get really spicy because we have still the boss on the map which can be taken at some point. We have camps again popping up, so BTG can now get them too and create more proper damage or pressure at the bottom of the lane. I mean, the danger is always that with the Sylvanas in the opponent's team, she can always just simply move to one of the towers and start to take them down. And they're trying to defend now as they're going in again. Yep, there comes Dibbles, there comes Dehaka, well controlled by Reyna though. Cocoon gets burned down by the disintegrate, and the drag against the bird, barely escaping. But they are already blowing most of their talents here. And they still haven't taken the bell tower. They still haven't been able to take it back. In comes the engage attempt by Diablo, that doesn't quite work out. Some of those minions coming through. Looks likely, yep. 1, 2, and 3. 10 points against 33. Hyperion got committed to as well, and just look at the minimap. Triple altar phase coming up. You win 2, you win the game. There's no one going down to the bottom right now. Nobody is going to take care of that bell tower here. If you take 2 altars, the game is over. And the globals are in. Falstad gets the wingman value again at the top, gets another pumpkin set. They go for the heavy invade, they have to. And right now, they don't even have 16 talents, the red team that is, so they are in a horrible spot. Bottom gets channeled. That's the first 5 fired. Top right has been channeled too, and now the top left. That's where the fight's over. This could be game right there. 30 against 5. That's the points on the core. Massive advantage. Still the channel going on. They interrupt one after another. They're poking again. They're forced in. Cocoon comes in. Where's the disintegrate? Already burned down. Burned down immediately, and oh, that could be the kill, and it is. Malthael is down, and that is game. Now there's no chance to go for the interrupt anymore. LLK gets the channel through, and that is 5 points off the core, who's already down to 2. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the victory for BTG as they win Towers of Doom against KG at the Gold League. Game number 2, BTG against KG. Game number 1 didn't quite go the way of KG. BTG looked pretty solid there, and it was actually a game where they just dominated for most of it. They had a really good setup here. And now that we're going into Infernal Shrines, it's of course a very different playstyle that we're going to see. I wasn't quite a fan of that false set in general, not of the player playing the hero, but just within the draft. I don't really think that false set made a whole lot of sense there. Especially coming from the European perspective, you see an Anubarak setup with especially a Tyrande, and your thought goes immediately like, hey, let's burst the target down, let's get that kill, let's get it quickly. And that just screams Li Ming, that screams Jaina, that screams Orphea if you don't get anything else. You want to have something that has a punch that is there and that just can deliver right away. They didn't do that. They were trying to mirror Dehaka to an extent and were hoping for a global, but I don't really think they needed that there. You have to be careful against the Dehaka when he moves into the 5-man fight. But outside of that, you can mirror his rotation between the lanes with other heroes as well. So, with that said, we're having Maiev also now taken, well, banned by BTG. KG could still ban that Zeratul. There we have it. And for BTG then, question of course what they want to ban out. I mean, at this point in time you could start to ban out some of the supports here. If you don't want to give your opponent a Tyrande, you ban her out. If you're more worried about a Anubarak, that's the next setup. Ana also, of course, since we have at the same time often, quite often the nano boost enabling any kind of mage to absolutely go ham, balls to the wall. So we'll see if this now triggers an immediate Tyrande pick. Because I still have to consider, if you're actually banning out Ana, that means that there's like 2 main supports left with Tyrande and with Malfurion. But yeah. Okay. Alex taken. Alex is weird right now, because obviously on Infernal Shrines she is a little bit better. I mean, she has the control through the Dragon Queen still on the shrine, and also it's like that area heal that she has that really works well if you have just such a tight spot around the objective. But she isn't really a hero that's being played a lot, not even on Infernal Shrines. Tyrande and Malfurion are just stealing the show there. And now we're having, again, a setup with the Anubarak and with Tyrande, but this time on the other side. And I would bet money at this point that they are going to, at least for one burst damage character, that will allow them to burn the target down, unless that stuff is banned out against them. So we'll see if that actually comes true. But I would be a little bit shocked if it wasn't. Oh, there's Garrosh for KG. What else are they gonna get? Have the Garrosh set up for now, and a little damage. Sylvanas. Sylvanas is, again, every game today, Sylvanas. In the Chinese meta, Sylv is super high right now. It's just so interesting because we have Sylvanas picked in Europe, but nowhere near as popular as in China. Not even close. Dehaka. No global shenanigans in this one. This is a typical map where in Europe we're seeing Leoric all the time. It's Leo, 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 Leo. So, yeah. Malthael also, strong pick, gets banned out too. But yeah, for them, I mean, again, you can play Arthas with Anubarak, you can play Leo, there's so much. Urel would be great with him too. Blaze, he's fallen off a little bit, but he would still do well with the jet propulsion and also with the bunker. Seen a lot of that stuff. And I'm still expecting Jaina. She wasn't banned out. There's the Blaze and there's Jaina. I like that. Again, the Blaze is a little bit more old school. I'm still a huge fan in certain setups and on certain maps of the hero, but he's not played as much anymore as he was in the past. But I like that they're going for that right now. But yeah, with Jaina being played at this point, I mean, honestly, Jaina was one of the heroes where I was just like, if they don't pick Jaina, then I'm gonna baby rage right now. So, there we go. This is what BTG... This is pretty similar to what BTG should have done in game number 1. Sorry, KG. Like, too many acronyms here. BTG, KG, KGG, BB. I was like, too many of them. Other day, Division 1 or Division 2 what we casted. MMORPG with the murky thing. SSSS is like, everybody is going for that stuff at this point. Alright, Urel and Hanzo. Hanzo is the last pick, it's kind of funny. But still good. So we have a Garrosh Urel with Sylvanas Hanzo in the backline, and we're seeing Jimmy now. with all the slows that come from Jaina, from the oil spill, from Blaze, stuns from Noob. It's a great setup for BTG. It's honestly a great combo. Definitely a fantastic draft for them. Can they take the 2-0 with it though? That's the question right now. KG against BTG, Infernal Shrines, game number 2. Let's jump straight into the second map of the series. Game number 2, BTG against KG, and we have the blue team in the lead as they're trying to make this a 2-0 victory here in the Gold League to advance to the offline part of the tournament, the round of 8. KG, of course, they have a bit of a different plan here. I mean, even if they lose, they have still a chance to make it to the round of 8 through the lower bracket of that group. But obviously, at this point, you really want to get that ticket right away and don't have to fight your way through an additional match. If they can pull it off, though, that's a different question. Again, they have a couple of picks which very much so smell like preferential picks on their end. They gave up Tyrande on the early slot in favor of Alexstrasza, so let's see if Alex is actually coming through for them. Dragon Queen itself, of course, a fantastic tool on the shrine, particularly because once you add roughly 20 of those stacks, you're normally getting a lot of value out of the Dragon Queen by itself, and just simply the entire presence that she has on any given area that allows normally for the objective to be claimed then. But the setup that we have for BTG is insanely awesome, so I am very, very interested to see if that works out as intended. There's so many synergies there. I mean, the level 1 talent on Jimmy in the first place, of course, fantastic with pretty much everybody on that lineup. So many stuns, so many slows, so much control and extra damage through the ace. And they're having on top of that also the burst damage after the Anubarak engage. Another big advantage for them. So yeah, I'm really interested to see what KG can do. I currently look at the draft and I'm saying, okay, BTG won that extremely handily. They have a fantastic draft here, an aggressive one, and they're gonna get the value eventually. But KG might just have an ace in the hole somewhere and able to take that on. So, let's check it out. Sylvanas has been the hero of the day, by the way, so if there's a couple of punishers taken by KG, they can definitely start to move forward with Sylvanas and try and take the structures down and take it from there. But in comes already a little bit of damage against Garrosh, and Garrosh is down. First blood in the game, but Meng gets also wrecked. And that of course also means that Sylvanas at this point is done. Okay, LLK wanted to suicide there apparently. Maybe expecting some extra damage put up towards the wall, which didn't really happen, but he was just one hit away from going down. But as I was about to say, Sylvanas is actually getting quite a bit of value already through these little skirmishes here too, and already it delivered quite a bit of damage towards especially, of course, Jimmy. So now we're seeing that stack process start, or well, we don't see it, but we know it's happening. That stack process for Sylvanas start. It's always a little bit of a weird feeling when you don't actually control mouse. It's actually interesting. Back in the HGC days, obviously, when we were casting in the studio, Tim and I, we also had someone else observing for us, so we didn't actually control the camera ourselves. But that was, of course, a very English-centric stream and a very heavy focus on the English production from the stream in general, which meant that the observers would listen to us and would therefore also try to show what we were talking about. So if we had a different train of thought and were talking about something happening on the minimap, they were usually very eager to show exactly that on the screen. This is a bit of a different setup to what we have here now. When I'm at home and I do my own streams and of course do everything on my own, which can sometimes be a little bit distracting. I mean, you're doing basically the job of 3 people with a single guy on production here, being me. But in this particular setup, it's kind of nice and at the same time sometimes a bit weird because you just can't show certain things that you want to talk about. Stacks and Sylvanas being one thing in this case. But we're seeing the objective, and with that we're having now also a massive lead already for BTG Kuga. Here comes the Dragon Queen, starting to push that out. 21 against 13 at this point, and well, now they're just waiting out the Dragon Queen and then they're re-engaging again. That's a big advantage when you have the Dragon Queen. And actually a chance to take a certain amount by yourself. The problem is that once it's over, you still need to be able to collect the rest, and that is starting to become a problem for them. They're ahead, but they're also starting to drop really low here in hit points, and that coordinated effort against Urel might be the end of her. 36 against 30. It's so close right now. 37, but Garrosh is dead. 39, one more, and they... Oh, they get it, but they lose Urel in the process. Oh, Urel down, but at least the Punisher has been taken. So that means that we're seeing KG, well, closing in on level 7. But they're not losing too much ground here on the map. They might even be able to get a bit of value with Sylvanas now starting to push in through the map here too. There's not even a Punisher jump that has been procced here, which is of course quite annoying. So here the second proc comes in, but the wall is already destroyed. You get a lot of value out of this. That's not bad. I mean, that is an Arcane Punisher, that of course helps. But that was definitely well done. Here comes a double stun. Hanzo, yeah, he's not named Lucky for no reason. That guy just escaped the last and final stun. That would have been the one from Tyrande, and then he would have probably died. Full Carapace focus from Anubarak, as we've seen these days a lot more. Divine Steed, by the way, for Urel. So she's going to try and soak the experience of 2 lanes, and Divine Steed is going to help her. First, of course, it makes you nearly ungankable. You are still kind of killable, but it's really, really tricky to take Urel down that has that talent. And she is obviously extremely quick in the rotations. That's one of the main reasons. Alright, Noob with the re-engage after being thrown out. There comes the pressure play, the damage from the Blizzard, and they're locking them down completely. Double kill, and they go for the triple. Easy kills here for BTG, and it shows the synergy of this draft again. So many slows, so much burst damage, and of course the control itself through those slows, plus the extra proc of the level 1 talent on Reyna's side. And just after they lost the Punisher, they're now looking at a 1.5 level lead. They're looking at level 10, and with the help of Anubarak and his Beetle spawn, just simply saying, you know what? We like to destroy shit, so let's go straight in for that fort at the bot lane and take that thing apart piece by piece. That's exactly what they're doing. Even trying to see if they can maybe get lucky. But Hanzo escapes for now. Top lane pressure against Blaze isn't gonna do too much either. There's only 2 heroes up at the top lane, so even with Sylvanas they can't really push in. We have, by the way, Combustion taken on the side of Blaze. Full Combustion for him. And we don't see that too often on the higher level. It's still all about Bunker. Despite the fact that Blaze isn't played that much anymore. It's always a little bit sad. I personally was always someone who enjoyed Blaze as a hero. The jet propulsion in particular is just absolutely awesome when you get these big triple quad stuns in and the follow-ups that oftentimes come with it. So from a caster's perspective, it's always pretty epic to see that. But in this case, we are also going to see the combustion value. Or well, maybe we're not going to see it. Like, it could be either. We're going to find out soon. Blaze is already trying to find a bit of a flank there. They have the cocoon on the ground as they're trying to make sure that they get another fort, and that's an easy kill for them. Stuns are coming in. That didn't really connect there as Blaze is trying to make something happen, but he's able to get the body blocks in against Garrosh, and that is another kill. BTG showcasing that they're the top dog in the group now. 7 kills against 1, but obviously a lot of this came before level 10 for KG. And that level 10 is available now. So at this point they will be able to get some of these plays coordinated and maybe change the outcome of that next fight. Because with Sylvanas, once that you have that Punisher pushing for you with the rest of the team, you're gonna get some value. They're already sneaking topside. Actually giving up a little bit more down here than I expected. You get Garrosh in position though. Go straight into Anubarak. Okay. Making the play here. Multi-Rel also jumping in. Hooves first. Going straight for it. 22 points on the other hand already. And a little bit late on this. The position has been taken by BTG a long time ago, and they are ruthlessly taking the control over the shrine. There's the Dragon Queen, and they're pushing them out, but I really think this comes a bit late. The opponent is already at 29 stacks, and that Dragon Queen is going to expire eventually, as they're catching up quite rapidly. But still, now that fight is going to happen. 25 versus 29. Here comes the dragon again. This time we're having the ult committed to. They're making their way in. 35. They should be able to get it, but are they going to lose heroes? That's the question. Garrosh survives for now and gets finally... Well, he still survives. Wow. And they need one more hit. And they... Oh, Hanzo just missed. Hanzo just missed. But they actually still get the last and final minion. But they're losing 3 again in the process of grabbing that. It seems to be a bit the story of the game, to be honest. They are losing... Well, BTG is losing all of the Punishers, but KG is losing all their heroes. 10 kills against 1, 2-level lead now. And the Punisher gets burned down pretty quickly. So, yeah. The Dragon Queen is really a powerful tool. Despite the fact that BTG was far ahead, it was still a victory for KG on the objective alone. But they just have trouble getting the kills and winning the fights. And the problem is you can't just suicide into the objective over and over again in order to get the objective. That works maybe in the beginning of the game because the death timers are so low, but once we're heading into the 3rd and the 4th Punisher, you just can't forget about that, because every single time that you lose a hero, those heroes are going to be down for more than a minute. And that is just going to give way too much of an advantage to your opponent. So, well... At this point, you need to start taking a couple of fights here. Now, one of the hopes, of course, for them is that Sylvanas is just going to get stacks together to an extent where she can finally say, alright boys, I'm gonna dish out massive damages right now. And we might see that. We're seeing them for the time being, just trying to find a bit of value on the map itself. And if you have a good rotation with Sylvanas, if you quickly push into a fort, for example, you can also obviously get the structures eliminated. Doesn't really help when your Urel gets randomly picked off there, though. And kind of engaged into that, too. I mean, am I insane? Didn't she just, like, jump into those guys? It felt like she had a chance to go away and just misjudge the situation completely here. So, KG is a little bit off the rails at this point. And 3 level behind, that hurts. There's the Sylvanas setup that we've been talking about, so at least at the bottom of the map they're starting to get something done. This fort is going to go down, but there's a trade, and that trade is a bad one. Top side fort falls, and that's also where the next objective spawns, which means that this push forward towards the wall itself is already opening up the wall to a keep that will be attacked by a Punisher next thing. They don't care. They're just simply out pushing at the bot lane. I am not quite sure what I'm watching right now, but this seems to be a bit of a race that we're seeing here. And one keep is gonna fall. The keep at the bottom should probably die too. The issue is that BTG is just gonna core now. They're not even getting the keep at the bot lane. Far from it. Instead, they have to defend the core now. And BTG is sitting there, is moving away and say like, well, we just got a keep for free, so I guess thanks. There's the big arrow though. And yeah, KG is just... They are panicking really, but I feel. The bot lane keep is still low. Bot lane keep is still quite low here. I'm actually wondering what would have happened if they just kept Sylvanas a bit longer. Because the keep might even survive. That catapult should be dropped. There's another one come in. I doubt that. Top Shrine's now activating. But yeah, that was not a good trade. Pretty much what we're looking at right now is a checkmate situation where BTG Kuga is going to take the game if they take the Punisher. And they're trying to backdoor this. They have to core with this. The Chinese gameplay. Jeez. They're actually going for the backdoor. They have nobody interrupting the portals at the top though. Nobody interrupts that. They have to core. Why is BTG not portaling back? They have to core. You know they have to core. There's no other reason why they would go for the keep. So they should be back already. But I still think this is going to fail one way or another. Combustion. Where is it, baby? There's the first kill. Alex is down. They're getting Garrosh. And they're getting absolutely murdered. One after another. That's going to be the end of Lucky. The only one that gets away is Sylvanas. Yeah, well, maybe not even that. Alright, dodges the stun. Misses, on the other hand, the jump on the wave. Intentionally juked out. And now being chased here. Alright, so... yeah, I'm sorry, but you're not gonna survive that either. Okay, so the 5-man wipe. And the blue team is looking at this and is saying like, what just happened? What? I mean, you could tell that at the top they were still committed to the shrine. They couldn't believe that KG would actually try to go for the core. I looked at this and was like, it's the only thing that they can do. Why would they 5-man the bot lane just to get the keep itself? That makes no sense. If they do anything, they have to go for it completely. I would have much more understood this if they actually kept Urel at the top side. If Urel would have moved topside with Divine Steed and would have attempted to interrupt the Hearthstone's back to buy them a little bit more time, then I could have understood to an extent and then attempt to go for a 5-man core. Probably would still have failed, but it would have given them a much better chance of trying to push this through. Now we have the fight up here. Punisher's already on the way towards the core, by the way, and we're gonna see more kills on. We're 16-1 at this point, and yes, the kills keep coming. Double kill already. Sylph gets wrecked by Reyna with the auto attacks. And the same is also true for Garrosh now. 4 down, and with 20 kills against 1, we're seeing BTG moving towards the core. Punisher is already on it. They're going for the extra experience with the Extraza kill. And with the 3-level lead and 21 kills to 1, we have a victor in the series. BTG is going to move on to the round of 8. They will be present at the offline finale of the tournament here of Gold League as they take down KG on Infernal Shrines and claim a 2-0 victory in the best of 3. GG and well played.